All right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's IELTS class. Before we get going, hi everyone. Welcome to today's IELTS class. Before we get going, I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay and the video is okay. I'm kind of dark because I'm backlit by the projector. So just waiting on some students to join. And then we will begin the lesson. I can see that Pritpal Virk and Satvir Singh, Vanita Banshal are present. Hi guys and girls. Can you hear me okay? Can somebody let me know if you can hear me okay? Yesterday we had a little bit of trouble with the sound. It should be fixed now, and you should hear me in good stereo sound. Awesome. So yeah, sorry about yesterday's audio. It was the first time, but every time we're improving, so it should be good now. How is the video? Can you guys see everything okay? Awesome. Looks like unanimous consensus on video and audio quality. That's nice to see. Great. Okay, so today's IELTS class is IELTS reading. We will have an example and I will explain some strategies for reading. This reading will be academic reading, but the strategies work well for general IELTS also. And you can use them there. Of course, if you can do a good job on academic IELTS reading, then for sure you will do a good job on general IELTS reading. General IELTS is a little bit easier. Hi, Hike. Nice to see you back again. Hi, Erkan. Nice to see you in class as well. I'm happy to see that some of you students are really enjoying these lessons and coming back again and time again to enjoy the lessons. The materials are coming from our websites at aehelp.com. That's for academic IELTS, and gieltshelp.com. That's for general IELTS. I'll show you our academic IELTS website in a moment. We're the only company in the world that has different sites for academic and general because obviously different people have different goals, so we think it's a good idea to separate these. As usual, we have a coupon code for you. It's LIVE20, L-I-V-E 20. That's a 20% discount off of our products. For those of you who have the option in your country, use Super Chat. It's beside your emoji. If you have a really important question or want to make your comments very clear, donate a couple dollars. It helps to support our effort. And you can find that beside your emoji. We are always happy for your support and always wishing you good studies and success on your exam. So Malkit Kaur, I see you writing that your exam is tomorrow. All the best of luck for you on your exam. Stay calm. Make sure you get a good night's rest. Don't let your nerves or anxiety get to you. It's important to stay calm, guys. Too much stress is not good, okay? So, Goli, you can't see me because I'm backlit by the projector, so that's why I'm a little bit dark. But if I step under the projector like this, you can see my face for a second. And there I am. Hi, guys. Okay, we'll work on the lighting as well. I'll try to maybe get some kind of a spotlight effect going so you can see my face a little bit more clearly. Thanks for asking about my leg, Erkan. Some of you who watch these classes regularly know that I had a broken leg in January playing hockey. It's healed mostly. Some sore ligaments and muscles. Ligaments are the strong rubber-like bands that help to control muscle and joint movement. All right, guys, so again, today, IELTS reading example and strategy. These materials are coming from our website. Here is what our website looks like. You can, this is our homepage here. You can use this website on your tablet or on your phone. It does adjust. You log in at the top like most other websites. And then when you log in to your website, you can, of course, sign up for a free trial version of the website. You can also get the full version. It's absolutely worth it. All of our students who use it find that their band scores go up. They're very happy with the products. And then when you go to the website, this is a full version here. Up at the top, you have a full course. the course has lots of sections, and then you have a curriculum book. You actually have 2 books here with 6 full practice exams. We are going to be using one of these books today for the reading, and we will also be using the audio today as well for the reading. We're one of the only companies in the world that gives you audio recordings for the reading section as well, because we think it's important for students to hear a native British English speaker read the reading section so you can feel the speed and the pronunciation. So I will show you an example of that today. Again, we have lesson videos here in high definition. So, of course, these are pre-recorded, and they are professional lesson videos with myself and other teachers. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel to get lots of free materials there. Again, using our free materials is great, but definitely if you have a few dollars to pay, help us out, support us, and you get all of our materials, no advertising, and so on, of course. All right, so today we are looking at IELTS reading, and I will teach you some vocabulary as well with the reading. So this is passage 2 from our academic book. And the topic that we are looking at today, or the title is, Why Do Some People Have Red Hair? We tried to choose topics for our materials that are interesting for everyone. All right. So again, Sachin and all the others who are having their exams tomorrow, the best of luck. It's great that you're tuning in. It's good for your listening exercise as well as, of course, the reading, which is the focus here right now. Awesome. So before we get heavy into the reading, let me ask you a few important questions. What is the first step when you get to the reading passage? So what should be the first step? What do you need to do first? So what do you need to do as step 1? Not so much skimming or scanning. Remember, guys and girls, skimming and scanning don't work to get a score over band 7 or 8, so you don't want to skim or scan. What's step number 1? Here's yes, Saeed, you definitely want to analyze. So critical thinking and analysis is absolutely key. Read the title of the passage. Govinder Singh says, read the title of the passage. Which passage? Which passage title should you read when you get to the reading section? So I'm going to do a step-by-step with you today, exactly as if you're sitting in the real exam. First passage, second passage, or third passage? Trick question. And some of you who watch the classes regularly know about these trick questions. All of them. Yeah. Saeed, why do you need to read all of the titles? So why should your first step in the reading section be reading the title of all of the passages? Why is it a good idea to read all of the titles? Yeah, exactly. ProSophist says to choose the easier one. So start with the easiest passage. IELTS is a graded test, so it's scaled. It's supposed to be that passage 1 is the easiest, then passage 2 is more difficult, and then passage 3 is the most difficult. Usually that's the case, but that's not always true because different people are familiar with different topics. Maybe you study engineering in university or college, and the topic for passage 2 is engineering. That will probably be easier for you because you're familiar with the topic. So when you get to the reading section, the first step is read all the titles, and choose the one that you think is the easiest for you, okay? Okay, so read all of the titles and choose the one that's most familiar or easiest for you. This is important because if you start to run out of time, you want to get the maximum scores that are possible. Now, there are a few different ways that IELTS makes the passages more and more difficult. Does anybody know how IELTS can make one passage more difficult than the other passage? So does anybody know how IELTS can make one passage more difficult than the other passage? Vocabulary is definitely one of the answers. So they choose higher level vocabulary or more difficult vocabulary in the passage and in the questions. So passages are made more difficult by choice of vocabulary. Sure. By paraphrasing, yeah, using more difficult paraphrasing. Thank you for that one, Hike. Yeah, absolutely. By grammar, more complex grammar. And there's one special trick that IELTS uses or technique that IELTS uses to make the passage more difficult. And you will see this when you're doing your practice exams. So whether you're using our materials at aehelp.com or you're using Cambridge past papers, you will notice something interesting about the choice of topics. There are basically two kinds of categories of topics: physical and abstract. A physical topic would be like a topic on volcanoes. Okay, so when we have a physical topic like volcanoes, that's usually easier. It's easier for people to understand information that deals with the real world that we can see and that we can measure clearly. Abstract topics, especially in the academic IELTS, are things like psychology or sociology or philosophy. Okay, so you'll often notice that passage 1 and passage 2 will often be some kind of a physical topic. And then you will often notice that passage 3 is some kind of an abstract topic. Okay, so that's one of the key ways that IELTS makes the topic more difficult. So when you're looking at the, yes, I did spell psychology wrong, Saeed, thank you, and it's especially funny because that's my major. So there we go. Right, so definitely notice that passage 3 is an abstract topic, so you might want to leave that one for last. When you see an abstract topic, only choose it as your first one to read if that is your major in university and that is the one that you're most familiar with, okay? So again, your step number 1 is read all of the titles. It's very important to read the title. Okay, so read all of the titles and choose the one that is the most familiar and easiest for you. Of course, you can't do that today because today I'm choosing for you, and the topic is why do some people have red hair? All right, awesome. So what is step number 2? So you're getting to the IELTS, you're confident, you're feeling great, you prepared for this, you practiced at home, you got all your strategies from aehelp.com, you used the 20% discount coupon Live20, you even saved some cash, you're feeling awesome about your chances to get a nice high score on IELTS, you read all your topics, you chose which is the easiest one for you. What's your next step? What's your step number 2 after you decided on the passage to read? Okay, Saeed says, maybe read the passage now? Yeah, not yet. Read the main sentences? Yeah, it's not good to dissect the passage. In a perfect situation, you're not dissecting the passage. Reading the questions might be a good idea, although you don't want to read all of them. We'll talk about that in step 3. Read the topic is what Hadil says, and I think what Hadil means by that is read the title and ask questions. So use critical thinking with the title. Sometimes the title includes a picture as well to help you out even more. So pay close attention to the title, and if they give you a picture, pay close attention to the picture also. And then use critical thinking. That will help you a lot. Okay? Critical thinking is your best friend on the IELTS to get a high score. What do I mean by critical thinking? Some of you students that watch these lessons regularly should know what I mean when I say critical thinking. So step 2 is apply critical thinking to the title of the passage. And at home, you want to write this down, but in the real IELTS, you're doing this in your head. You don't have enough time to write it down. So at home, practice by writing it down, and on IELTS, do it in your head. Okay, so ask what, why, how. Absolutely. So nice. I see some of you guys saying, yeah, well, ask what, why, how. Okay, so quickly do a what, why, how with the title of the passage. When you do this, it will really, really help you to read it more efficiently and answer the questions much more accurately with higher chance of good scores. So ask, and of course answer, what, why, how in regards to the passage. Okay, this is especially important with abstract ideas. It's of course important with physical ideas like volcanoes as well, but when you're dealing with abstract ideas, it's especially important to try to get some of those answers correct. Okay, and you won't just get a gist of the text, you can actually get quite a good idea of what the text will be about. So here we go, let's do an example for this. So regarding our passage, what's our first question with this? So what is the first question that we should, yeah, what people have red hair, or what's red hair? Sure. Yeah, those are both good questions. And often you'll see that there are multiple what, why, how questions. So what people have red hair? What is red hair? Sure. And what's the answer to that? So what people have red hair? Let's not ask why yet. Let's ask the what question. So what people have red hair? Come on, guys, use your critical thinking. I'm sure you can answer some of these questions. And it's probably not people who dye their hair. So we're not talking about people right now who are coloring their hair. We're talking about actual redheads, as they're called. Harjeet, don't confuse your questions and answers. Genetics is going to be how. Genes will be how, guys. Genes will be an answer to how people have red hair or why people have red hair. But this is why you want to practice critical thinking at home, because you want to make sure that you know which question is the right question and which question is or which answer is the right answer. Okay, I can't read Cyrillic, but somebody either from the Ukraine or Russia is saying that Irish people. Yeah, absolutely. So Irish people have red hair, okay? So people of Irish and Scottish descent have red hair mostly. People in European, especially Northern European countries, have red hair. Yeah. So for those of you who know a little bit about heritage and geography, will know that mostly Irish and Scottish descent have red hair, and mostly it's found around countries that are in northern parts of Europe, right? So, and red hair, of course, is a color of hair. So that's great, Aska, that you have red hair. There is red hair in some other parts of the world as well, for sure. It's not just in Europe, but it's mostly localized, especially that vivid, strong, orangey red color. So, okay, we get this, we visualize, make sure you visualize. That's also a technique I keep telling you about. And then you ask the next question, right? So why do people have red hair? Now, some of you can give your answers that you gave before. So why do people have red hair? Why do you think people have red hair? What is the reason for that? So obviously genetics, so certain genes do what? What do the genes actually do? Yeah, so they affect the chemical features. What are the chemical features? What's the correct word? And this is a good vocabulary, especially for you studying for the academic test. What is the chemical that decides the color of skin and hair and so forth? Melanin is a good word to use. And there's another word that we can, it's kind of a synonym for melanin. It starts with a P-I. Anybody know what it is? Oh, there it is, pigment. Saeed said it. So hair pigment, yeah. So certain genes decide the melanin and pigment of hair color. Okay, now if we're thinking about evolution, so use your critical thinking here, guys and girls. And you'll see that I'm using a lot of academic vocabulary here. So if you don't understand something, please ask. Okay, I can see what you write. Again, if you really want to ask something strongly, use your super chat. So certain genes decide the melanin and pigment of hair color. But this still doesn't really answer the why. This is almost more the how. Okay, so this is more applicable to how red hair color happens. It's still not really the why answer. And here we're looking more for the why answer. So why do people have red hair? So not just how do I have red hair through my genes and through inheriting it from my parents, hint, hint. But why do I have it? So why would I have red hair? In order to feel happy and positive is what Prosafa says. Perhaps, yeah, perhaps that could be an answer. I liked Mohammed's answer. He says it's related to climate and geography. Okay, so related to climate and geography. Can somebody explain that more? If somebody is actually maybe familiar with red hair, and I see Syed's giving us some really technical information. Maybe you're looking at it on Wikipedia, but stay focused here, guys, or maybe you're a geneticist. So what is related to the climate and geography of the red hair? And think about this. So think about where Irish and Scottish people live, and think about what else is common among these people. I'm just kidding, Syed. I don't know if you're using Wikipedia or your own knowledge, of course. Don't take offense to it. If for those of you who are geneticists or studying medicine, you probably learned about this because red hair is an important case study in genetics. Mohammed says where there's cold weather. Oh, there we go. Hike says where the sun is weak. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, where there's a difficulty to produce vitamin D. Now, I know, guys, I'm not being absurd here and crazy. I do realize that maybe you don't know this much knowledge about a topic, so I'm going into a lot of details here. So if your answers for the what question is what people have red hair, people of Irish Scottish descent, and then why do people have red hair, and then simply your answer for that is in some way it must be related to evolution. To human history and evolution. That's a good enough answer, okay? So you don't need to identify that it's climate change and difficulty producing vitamin D, but you should be able to figure out that animals and humans have certain features because it's related to their history and their evolution, okay? Evolution is very important to identify. So these meta theories or meta science is very important to know for the academic IELTS, but of course also for general IELTS as well, okay? And then for the how question, so for the how question, of course, you should be able to figure out that red hair is a result of genetics, and it affects some part of the chemistry of the hair, which gives it color. If you don't know the word melanin and pigment, that's okay, but you should realize when you're reading the text that those are the words representing those chemicals, okay? All right, so you've thought critically about the topic. You've answered the what, why, how. Now, what is your step 3? So what's your step 3 for the reading section? Paraphrasing is definitely a good strategy throughout the exam, but we don't need to do that first. So ProSopha says, read the questions. Do I read all the questions? Hike says no. Right. Again, I keep teaching everybody this strategy. Do not read all of the questions and answers. There's a very important rule why you don't want to read all of the questions and answers. So read some of the questions. And what I mean by read some of the questions is read questions and answers that contain information found in the passage. So fill in blanks, summary completion are a couple examples. Okay, I can't really spend all the time on one point here, but if you want to see the full list, again, go to aehelp.com and then you can really get into these detailed strategies in the course. I can just kind of touch the surface, the important parts in these live streams. So read questions and answers that contain information in the passage, fill in blanks, summary completion, and then of course, do not read questions or answers that contain false or extra information not in the passage because they will confuse you. Okay, that would be like, some of you probably know which ones I'm talking about. So before I write it up here, does anybody know what I mean? Sophist says all except no, not given. No, there are a few other ones, okay? So true, false, not given. It's not good to read before the passage because it contains not given and false information. Which other types of questions? Yeah, sentence completion answers are not good to read. That's right, Hadil. So sentence completion answers. The questions are okay, but not the answers. And what else? Also the answers for multiple choice. That's right, Hadil. So multiple choice. It's not a good idea to read multiple choice answers before reading the passage because 3 of 4 or 2 of 3 will be wrong and that will confuse you, okay? So again, step 3, read some of the questions, only the questions that contain information found in the passage. Don't read ones that have false or extra information. You're 1, wasting your time, and 2, you're going to get confused. The human brain is not linear, so if you read them before the passage, it will not be able to differentiate whether or not you got the information in the passage once you're finished. Okay. Okay. Now, what's step 4? And sorry, before we get to step 4, let's actually do step 3. Okay, so before we get to step 4, let's switch back here to step 3. All right, as you can see, there's no list of heading questions. That's from the previous passage. So why do some people have red hair? We get to the questions, which are here. Okay, so here is the first set of questions. The question is, choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. Should I read this question? List of headings is the only one, Yvonne, where you should read it before the passage. Okay, I'll show you list of headings questions in our next class, which will be from 3 o'clock. Okay, so this one says, choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. So should I read this one? Yeah, it's a definite yes. Aska says definitely yes. Yes, it's basically a fill-in-the-blanks question from the passage. So these will be paraphrased sentences from the passage, okay? So this is a paraphrased sentence. So let's read it. By the way, guys and girls, the questions are in your stream description, okay? So questions are in the stream description. So for those of you who are joining or watching, questions are in the stream description. Okay, so if you're on YouTube there, you can see the questions in your stream description. All right, so red hair is common in countries with something from Western Europe. Okay, sure. A gene is one which can only be transmitted from generation to generation if both parents possess it. Okay. See here. Okay. Uh, in addition to, or sorry, evolution and are both causes of the origin of red hair. Okay, so we can already see some of the key words that we were predicting when we were doing the what, why, how from the title. That's why it's so important to do that step number 2. All right, and then in addition to red hair, the MC1R gene causes many to occur on the skin. Okay, something with the skin. So we can now assume that the skin and hair are connected. Okay, next question. Yes, no, not given. Should I read this one? Don't guess the answers, Hike. Only guess answers in absolute extreme situations where you don't have time. Yeah, don't read this one. So just skip yes, no, not given altogether, okay? Don't read yes, no, not given questions. They'll confuse you. They make you nervous and so forth. All right? Question 22 to 26 says, complete the summary using the list of words A to H below. Write the correct letter A to H, 22 to 26 on your answer sheet. We find this on our next page in our book. Okay, and then it says redhead misconceptions. Anybody know the meaning of misconception? Anybody know what it means, misconception? Yeah, it means misunderstanding or wrong understanding, wrong idea. A concept, okay? Concept is an idea. A misconcept is a wrong idea, okay? So not wrong thing, Govinder. Never say thing. Always find the better noun. And the better noun here is idea. So a misconception is the wrong idea, okay? So the wrong thought or the wrong idea. Concept means an idea or a thought. Awesome. So we want to read this summary. And again, this is going to be paraphrased from the passage. It's not going to be the exact same words. It's going to be a paraphrase. So redheads have suffered from a number of negative stereotypes throughout history. Notable, in some cultures, they were thought to lack today, conversely, they are thought to be enjoyable and people. The perception that redheads are dying out is entirely because the MC1R gene is recessive and can miss. Redheadedness has been around for thousands of years, and though the of redheads in the world may decrease, they are here to stay. Okay, good. For those of you who watched yesterday's class, anybody remember what a paraphrase is for thousands of years? I taught that word to you yesterday. Anybody remember what the paraphrase is for thousands of years or the synonym? That's right, Raya. Great. Millennia. Hike, remember millennium is 1,000 years. Thousands of years is millennia. Right, so that kind of a paraphrasing you want to think about, and you will notice that a lot of these words that I'm teaching you pop up in IELTS. So many times students write an email or a message to me and say that, hey, I saw 4 of the words from your class in IELTS, so thank you for that. So definitely these words do pop up. These are kind of the common topics. All right, so we read the summary completion. If you don't understand every word or 100%, that's okay. Don't panic, all right? As long as you understand 70 or 80%, you can still get a score of 7 or even maybe more. Should I read these, the answers, the choices? Is it a good idea for me to read the choices to these? No, it's not. There's probably a few in here that are false answers, and sometimes the false answers, when they give them to you here, are very close to the right answer, so it can be very easy to confuse the wrong answer with the right answer, because the wrong answer can sometimes fit or even make sense in the space, okay? Sometimes students think, oh, that word will not make sense in the space, but that's not always true. Sometimes 2 or even 3 words will actually make sense in the space, and you only can choose one that's correct in the passage. So don't read this, okay? Don't read these. Just avoid them, all right? Sometimes you don't even get these given to you. You have to choose it from the passage, all right? So don't read these. Okay, so just a quick recap. Just a quick recap here for everyone who's joining now. Again, materials are coming from our website, ahelp.com. You can see the questions in the stream description. You can use a coupon code LIVE20 for a 20% discount. By the way, guys and girls, I do give Skype speaking interview lessons as well. I'll talk to you about that at the end of the lesson. It's something new that I started doing. So a quick recap of what you need to do. Step 1, when you get to the reading section, read all of the titles, choose the one that you believe will be the easiest for you, the one that you think you are most familiar with. So if you know a lot about volcanoes, choose that one. If you know a lot about genetics, choose the one about red hair, okay? The way that IELTS makes passages more difficult is through vocabulary, paraphrasing, and especially through physical versus abstract topics. All right, step number 2. When you have chosen the order of easiest to most difficult, then apply critical thinking to the title of the passage that you're about to read, okay? So ask what, why, how, and answer what, why, how. Practice this at home. It seems easy, but it can be very tricky, okay? The correct questions and answers can be tricky. Here we did that for this one. Of course, guys and girls, you will be able to see this video once it's completed streaming about 2 hours after. So you can review this class if it's going a little bit too fast. If I'm speaking too quickly, you will be able to go back and review the video later on, all right? Just make sure to subscribe to the channel. Step number 3 is skim read the questions, okay? Skim read the questions. And only the questions that contain information which is found in the passage, such as fill in the blanks, summary completion, not the ones that have extra or false information like true, false, not given, and multiple choice. Okay, so you've done all that. You're doing great. You're practicing this at home, so you're feeling confident. Super awesome. It's what you need to do to get a high score. By the way, this kind of exercise and study will also help you in university. So clearly this type of analytic critical thinking and critical reading is very effective for studying in university and getting a high score in your university classes. So these aren't some weird tips and tricks that only work in IELTS. This is actual educational psychology that I'm teaching you here. That's what's used in our courses also. Awesome. So step 4, what is step 4? Anybody? Somebody who's reading classes or watching classes regularly? What's step 4? Read and analyze. Yeah, Syed, thank you. Absolutely. So read and analyze. Now, here, because we're doing this for practice purposes, we're going to do it a little bit differently. First, I'm going to just play the audio for you so that you can hear the kind of audio that's found on our website that helps you with your reading fluency. So just give me a moment here, and I'll play the audio for this reading passage, okay? So one moment, please. So here's the passage, and let me just bounce back here to the player, which should be somewhere open. Just bear with me one moment. Okay, and you do have these CDs in your,
Why do some people?
you do have these, this audio in your full course, okay? The free course has some audio, but not all of it. So here we go. Just read the passage. Try to read the passage at the same speed as this native British English speaker, okay? So if you read a little bit slower than this in the official IELTS, it's okay. You should read a passage in the academic IELTS in about 8 to 10 minutes. In the general, they're half as long, but there's more of them, so you should read about a passage in about 4 to 5 minutes, okay? So here is the passage, why people have red hair. Okay.
People have red hair. Red hair is an exceedingly rare trait, especially in areas of the world such as Asia, Africa, and South America. In Western Europe, however, red hair is relatively common. In some countries, such as Scotland, red hair is more common than blonde hair. Additionally, countries with historical immigration from Western Europe, such as the United States and Canada, also show high incidences of red hair. Red hair has been around for thousands of years, if not far longer. There are ancient Greek accounts of redheads, and even ancient Egyptian ones. The story of why people have red hair is interesting and has to do with genetics, evolution, and geography. The gene for red hair is what is known as a recessive gene, which means that the gene can only be passed down to the next generation if both parents possess the gene. And even then, the probability is only 25%. But it is important to note that not only redheads carry the gene for red-headedness, rather, in some countries, up to 40% of the population carries the gene. This accounts for the birth of a red-headed child to non-red-headed parents. The parents may not be red-headed themselves, but they carry the gene. And if their ancestry was to be analysed, there would surely be redheads up and down their family tree. The specific gene for red hair is called the melanocortin-1 receptor, MC1R, and was discovered in 1995 by Professor Jonathan Rees at the University of Edinburgh. This gene is responsible for red hair, along with the other tertiary attributes associated with red hair, pale skin and myriad freckles, for example. But why did people ever have red hair in the first place? The answer, some scientists think, has to do with evolution and geography. The places where red hair is relatively common, Northern Europe and Western Europe, have lower sunshine levels than other parts of the world. This lack of sunshine resulted in a lack of vitamin D production in its inhabitants, exposure to the sun being humans' main source of the nutrient, which can result in rickets, a condition which can lead to the deformity of bones. One of the side effects of the MC1R gene is that redheads more easily absorb vitamin D due to the low amounts of eumelanin in their bodies. On one hand, this results in a particular predisposition to sunburn. However, it also allows redheads to avoid rickets even when underexposed to the sun. Redheads also have a number of other curious attributes that are associated with the MC1R gene. First, they have a higher tolerance for pain than non-redheads. Studies have shown that redheads require up to 20% more anesthesia for sedation than non-redheads. Second, redheads are more sensitive to cold temperatures. This is especially curious because red-headedness originally developed as an adaptation for cold, sun-poor environments. evolution is not perfect, and it may be the case that maladaptation to cold temperatures is the price redheads pay for adaptation to low levels of sunlight. Third, redheads bruise more easily than non-redheads. There does not seem to be any evolutionary reason for such a trait, though it certainly does contribute to the negative stereotype of redheads as less physically capable than non-redheads. This is not the only negative stereotype that has cursed redheads throughout the centuries. At times in history, redheads have been thought to be witches, evil, unclean, and soulless. Today, these stereotypes have thankfully given way to more cheery stereotypes of redheads as fun and quirky individuals. In recent years, a perception has been created that redheads are dying out and will eventually become extinct as a genetic category. This is patently false. Red hair, as a recessive gene, has the ability to skip generations and return in full force. Red hair has been around for thousands of years, perhaps as many as 100,000 years, and there are no signs of its forthcoming extinction. While redheads may make up a shrinking percentage of the world's population due to higher growth among non-European populations, the redhead gene is here to stay.
Okay, so that is the audio read along for this. And Harjeet, I see that you said, oh, it's too slow. But in fact, this is not too slow, and I'll show you why. So if we look at the video length, let me just skip to the end of it. It's actually, I don't know if you guys can see that on the screen because it's quite small. How long do you guys think she took to read this? Let me ask you that. So how long do you think this passage was? How long was her reading? And this is interesting because a lot of students complain that there's not enough time to read in the IELTS. So some of you says 5, some of you say 8, some of you say 6, 4, 3 to 5, 5. The exact length of this reading is 5 minutes and 43 seconds. Okay, so she read this in 5 minutes and 43 seconds, which means that in this case, even with the step 1, 2, and 3, she should have at least 12 minutes left to answer all the questions, which is lots. Okay, so 5 minutes and 40 seconds is actually quite fast. If you take 8 minutes to read the passage, that's okay. Steps 1, 2, 3, 4, so choosing the correct difficulty of passages, asking the critical questions, looking at the questions and answers that you should look at, that should, and then the reading should all take about 10 minutes, okay? So taking 6, 7, 8 minutes for the reading is absolutely okay. If you're taking more time than 8 minutes, then you really need to focus on increasing your reading fluency. And again, on our website, in some of these reading section strategies, I'm not sure which one it is. I haven't set up the touch screen yet for the projector. I'll do that. But on the website, there are actually strategies for increasing your reading fluency. So when you join the online course, then you'll be able to go through the course step by step and increase the fluency so that you can read a passage in 8 minutes, okay? So again, remember that joining us at ahelp.com is a very good idea for you when you're doing the IELTS exam. All right, so quick question to everybody. Was this loud enough, the audio? So I'm still sassing out a few of the technical aspects of the live streaming here. How did you find the reading audio? Was it loud enough for everyone? So everyone who heard the reading audio, was it good? Was it loud enough? And then, thank you, Erkan, for answering that question. Was there any distortion? So was there any feedback or distortion? Aska, you found it actually a bit loud. I thought it was maybe a bit quiet, so, but you thought it was good. All right, excellent. Okay, so I'll know that for the future, that it's about the right volume and distance for the microphone. Thank you for answering those questions. Raya, you thought it was not very clear. I think you had some troubles yesterday too, so I think you might have some problems on your end as well. Okay, so getting back to the reading passage. Now in the IELTS, when you read like this, you are simultaneously applying critical thinking. So read and analyze. That means read the passage in about 8 minutes and apply critical thinking to each paragraph as you read. Okay, so that's very, very important to apply critical thinking to each paragraph as you read. Now, in the real IELTS, you're doing this real time. You're doing this in your brain, in your head. You do not have time to practice this on paper in the real IELTS. But at home, oh, right, you meant it was very clear. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Awesome. Thanks, Govinder. I probably appreciate your feedback. Positive comments are great, and positive criticism is always good too. So if somebody finds something that doesn't work in the class, or you're not liking something, please let me know or send me an email, because we always want to improve and help you more. Okay, so again, in the actual IELTS, you're doing critical reading in your mind as you're reading. At home, you're practicing this on paper. What does that mean? So what do I mean you want to practice critical analysis or critical thinking as you read? What does that actually mean? What am I actually suggesting that you do while you read? So again, yeah, answer what, why, how. So I can't stress this enough. It sounds really funny and almost childish to keep saying what, why, how, and children are amazing learners. I have a young little daughter. She's 2 years old, and she's just figured out how to start asking why questions, which is great to see. But nature has programmed us to be fantastic learners, and we can see that in our children. Thanks, Emaine. So that's what we need to do later in life as well, when we're learning in university and when we're studying for the IELTS. So we want to do that in all sections, including the reading, and while we read, and we want to ask what, why, how for each paragraph. Now at home, write down what, why, how for each paragraph. And of course, answer these. During the official IELTS, do this in your mind as you read. And you need to train yourself to do this. Okay, so training yourself to do this is very important. Don't just assume that you can naturally do this well. Okay. I'm here in Maine. I'm going to be teaching regularly now. My leg is feeling better, so I can stand, I can move around. So we apply this to the passage. I'll give you a couple of examples, okay? So we'll look at maybe 2 paragraphs. We won't do all of them because that will take too long, but we'll do 2 just so you get a good idea of what I mean here with critical thinking for each one. So let's read paragraph 1 again, and then we'll ask and answer what, why, how. So red hair is an exceedingly rare trait, especially in areas of the world such as Asia, Africa, and South America. In Western Europe, however, red hair is relatively common in some countries, such as Scotland. Red hair is more common than blonde hair. Additionally, countries with historical immigration from Western Europe, such as the United States and Canada, also show high incidences of red hair. Red hair has been around for thousands of years, if not far longer. There are ancient Greek accounts of redheads and even ancient Egyptian ones. The story of why people have red hair is interesting and has to do with genetics, evolution, and geography. All right? So, question number 1 is, what is this paragraph about? So, what is this paragraph about? What is this paragraph about? It's about the geography of redheads. Yeah. The history, absolutely. Yeah. It is about the history and geography of redheads. Okay. Why does the paragraph talk about this? So why does the paragraph introduce this information? Okay, Vikalp says because it's giving us some background. Yeah, absolutely. And if we read between the lines, we get some other information as well, that it's important for genetics. Yeah, so it's an important physical feature to understand. So again, practicing this at home, you should get as quick as I am here, and you should be as detailed as I am here. So you can get all of this information. Why does the paragraph introduce it? To introduce the background, uniqueness, and importance of red hair. Okay. And the origin, absolutely, you're right, Mohammed. It does emphasize the origin. And how does... So how does the paragraph provide this information? So it explains, yeah, it introduces facts. That's what I'm looking for, Hike. So introduces facts about the existence of red hair. It has been around for thousands of years and is most common among people with North European descent, but was found in Egypt and Asia in the past as well. Okay, so here, of course, we can list a lot of information, but just getting the key points. So it introduces facts about the existence of red hair. That's the most important, as Mohammed said. Surya, thank you for reminding us of that good vocabulary there, millennia. Descent means to go down. Ascent means to go up, but descent also means to inherit. So the genetics are passed down to our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. So that's why our children and our children's children are our descendants. Our parents or grandparents or ancestors, okay? When you study prefixes, roots, and suffixes of English words, and Latin words, French words, so on, then these become very clear. So that will be for another lesson. But great questions, Surya. So keep asking when you have these nice questions. I'm happy to answer them as long as I can, okay? So descent means going down or being passed down. Of course, descent and ascent are two good words to know for IELTS Task 1 writing also. All right, so that is the what, why, how for paragraph number 1. Let's choose another paragraph. Any suggestions? Somebody want to suggest a paragraph from the reading? Those of you who were here for the whole shebang. Any requests on which paragraph to apply the what, why, how? So I'm not the only one controlling the lesson. By all means. ProSafa, please do select any keywords that you think are necessary. I'm happy to define them. Okay. You want to do the stereotypes one? Sure, probably a very good one, especially since one of the questions deals with that. So Syed is suggesting let's do the stereotypes one. Okay. I believe it's going to be this one. Nope. Yeah. The stereotypes one is actually, I'm just looking at it right now, Syed. It's a very short one, but we can do that one. So that one kind of goes over from the previous. So here, if we look, so there's a connecting sentence here. There does not seem to be any evolutionary reason for such a trait, though it certainly does contribute to the negative stereotypes of redheads as less physically capable than non-redheads. And then this next paragraph here deals about the stereotypes. It's just a short one, but we can look at it. So let's read it and then answer what, why, how. So this is not the only negative stereotype that has cursed redheads through the centuries. At times in history, redheads have been thought to be witches, evil, unclean, and soulless. Today, these stereotypes have thankfully given way to more cheerier stereotypes of redheads as fun and quirky individuals. So question number 1 is, what is this paragraph about? And try to answer these in full sentence answers, in good answers. So what is this paragraph about? Can somebody give me a nice full sentence answer? Misinterpretations or misconceptions? Sure. But we want to be careful not to apply the question heading here. So let's keep it more simple. It's about stereotypes. That's right, Yvonne. A little bit more information. So a little bit more information. It's about stereotypes throughout. And answer in full sentences. This paragraph is about the stereotypes around redheads throughout what? Or the superstition. That's a nice vocabulary there, Surya. So absolutely, stereotypes or superstition is a good word as well here. Throughout what? Throughout the world. Yeah, we get a little bit of regional, but not so throughout history. That's right, Raya. Yeah. So it tells us about stereotypes of past and present, right? So, okay. And why? So why does the paragraph state this information? What do you guys think? Why does the paragraph? And sometimes you have to imply the answer or infer the answer. So why does the paragraph state this information about the superstition? Why do you think? And if you actually have red hair, you probably would know the answer to this question very quickly. So if some of you out there watching have red hair, don't be shy. Let us know what you think. And here's a little hint. Think about the connecting sentence of the previous paragraph. To clarify and confront these superstitions, yes, and to make it clear to the reader that there are both something and something. Are negative while others are positive. So hopefully most of you did get this now that I'm telling you that this paragraph makes it clear for the reader that red-headed people have experienced both positive and negative stereotypes in history. Negative more in the past, positive more recently, right? So how? So how does the author explain this? Anybody? How does the author explain that that both negative and positive stereotypes have existed for redheads in history? And this is what you need to do in your task 2 writing. Hint, hint. By giving examples, right? So yeah, so the author gives examples of stereotypes. Evil, and I saw a couple of you write a couple other things. So Raya says in modern days they're enjoyable and quirky. It means kind of funny in an interesting way. So they were evil, then they were witches. Now funny, enjoyable. Sure. Okay. Great. And I know that for some of you it may seem a little bit painful to do this what, why, how for each passage. But believe me, guys and girls, that when you're at home and you're studying for the IELTS exam, it's much better to take it slow, analyze one passage in great detail, ask what, why, how. Quirky means, Said, kind of like funny in a weird sort of way. It means funny in a weird kind of way. If any of you know the famous comedian Carrot Top, that's a great example of quirky. Okay. Stereotypes means we put people into a category, or we put not just people, but something into a category. So Mercedes and BMW are stereotypically considered a very good car, even though not all models of Mercedes and BMW are good cars. So it's grouping. Yeah, that's right. So again, going back to the important point that I'm making here, even though some of you think that asking what, why, how is kind of a painful process for learning the reading section, it's much, much more effective than if you just keep reading one passage after the next, after the next, after the next, and getting the same score and not really improving your reading comprehension or fluency, all right? You need to study effectively, not just a lot. This is effective study, okay? You need to do this at home. And of course, when you practice this kind of critical reading, and this is an important point I want to make for you, when you practice this form of critical reading, meaning what, why, how, you also improve your ability to remember what you read. Okay, so oftentimes students complain that they understand the passage and they say, well, I can read the passage, I understand the vocabulary, I understand what it's about, but when I get to the questions, I totally forget what I just read. What's my problem? Well, the problem is they're probably not taking interest in the topic, so you should always find IELTS topics interesting. And you should apply critical reading, okay? So that way you will remember the content of what you read much, much more in your university studies as well, and then you can discuss that information more accurately, more detailed, and you'll be able to answer questions on it, okay? All right, guys and girls, I see that Hike's saying, sir, we need some rest. Give us a coffee break or something like that. I would love to do that, guys and girls, but what I'm going to do right now is just push through. I'm going to look at the questions and answers. We're going to answer those questions, and then we'll have a good solid break, and the next class will be in a couple hours. So let's look at the questions. Bear with me. Hang in there. Remember, on the IELTS, you do not get a break. In the IELTS, you have to do the whole exam, all 3 hours, and I know it's tough, but you got to practice that, all right? So if you really need to go to the washroom, don't worry. Again, this video will be available on the channel. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then you can see the answers or catch up later, okay? So if you need a break, go to the washroom, go eat something, get a drink of water, come back, and you can see what you missed later on. I know the exam is exhausting. Nobody likes a 3-hour exam. By the way, in North American universities, your midterms and your final exams are usually 3 hours long as well. So IELTS actually prepares you for the length of your exams in university, okay? I did university in Canada. My average exam, midterm, and final exam was 3 hours long. Some days I had 3 exams on the same day. That means I had a 3-hour exam, then I had a break, then I had another 3-hour exam, a break, and another 3-hour exam. I know that's crazy, but that's the way it works. So sometimes you can even do 9 hours of exams in one day. All right. Let's look at the questions. So, red hair is common in most countries with something from Western Europe. What is the answer? What do you guys and girls think? Red hair is common in countries with, and you should have the exact answers. So for this type of question, you will need to look at the passage again, most likely. But hopefully you're very clear about where to look. Okay, so you're not searching the whole passage. So you need to know with low sun from Western Europe. Low sunlight is probably a bit better. Sunlight is one word. We can have a look at that, so we're not just guessing. So keywords here are common. So red hair is exceedingly rare trait, especially in the areas world. In Western Europe, however, in some countries such as common, more additionally, migration of Europe, it's probably coming from the beginning. Red hair has been around for they're ancient Greek. Okay. So, yeah, I'm definitely having trouble finding it, so I'm just going to go with what was said by another student as well, because I feel that Red hair is common in countries with low sunlight. Sorry, just a second here. Okay. Raya says historical immigration from Western Europe. Yep, I agree with Raya. That makes much more sense. And here the question, guys and girls, is choose no more than 2 words from the passage. It doesn't mean that you have to have 2 words, okay? So if 1 word is enough, then choose 1 word, all right? So Raya, I believe you do have the correct answer, historical immigration, but you will be okay if you write just immigration. So if you write immigration, you'll be fine. If you write historical migration, then that you might get wrong if you spell it wrong. So red hair is common in countries with immigration from Western Europe. That will be okay, all right? That will be fine, just immigration. All right, next one. Something gene is one which can only be transmitted from generation to generation if both parents possess it. For those of you who've studied genetics, you probably know the answer to this one. Yes, absolutely, recessive. By the way, quick question, guys and girls. What's the opposite of a recessive gene? What is the opposite of the recessive gene? Just some important vocabulary word. Opposite is dominant. It's a good word to know, dominant, okay? Yeah, so dominant is the opposite, okay? So it's not dominant, it's recessive, all right? Now, we probably do realize that the answers are coming from the paragraph with genetics and where it's most common to find these. So most of these answers are probably coming from this paragraph with the MC1R gene and from the previous paragraph, okay, from this one. So this paragraph and this paragraph likely have most of the answers for this. It's the second and third paragraph. All right, let's keep going here. Let me line up our answers. So, next question. Evolution and are both causes of the origin of red hair. So evolution and what? Evolution and... Guys, don't confuse yourself. Genetics and evolution are the same. Okay? So everybody who's saying geography has the correct answer. You wouldn't have a double synonym as the answer. So you wouldn't have evolution and genetics because that's the same. Evolution, genes, genetics is the same. So the answer has to be geography. Okay? Geography and evolution interact to be the cause of red hair. Remember that geography triggers evolution because people in areas with low sunlight have red hair so that they can produce more vitamin D. So the correct answer is geography. In addition to red hair, the MC1R gene causes something to occur on the skin. Okay, and this should be easy if you know the word. If you don't know the word, then you might want to skim read for the word skin. Okay, it's not freckles, and it's not spots, it's not bruises. That was a Freudian slip, by the way. I just gave you the answer. So if you know some people who have red hair, you often realize that on their face or on their skin, they have many little spots. Those little spots have a name in English. And if you don't know the spelling, my spelling isn't the greatest, then you might want to go back and search for it. It's not bruises, it's freckles. That's right, guys. There we go, freckles. Okay, freckles. Those are those little tiny, usually brownish, reddish spots that are found on the face or found on the skin of people with red hair. Okay, freckles. Often, if you see cartoon characters, you'll see freckles. Or I don't know if some of you have Wendy's in your country, which is a hamburger fast food place that has a red-headed girl as the symbol or the mascot, and she's got freckles. If you go to North America or Europe and you see a Wendy's, you will see that freckled little girl. Okay? All right. So, immigration, recessive gene, geography, freckles. Okay? Now, because the question says no more than 2 words, one of these is probably going to be 2 words. I think they would accept immigration, but here they might be looking for a historical migration. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the next set of questions. And of course, we can check these after in the answer key, and we'll do that at the end. So let's take a look at the next set of questions. True, false, or yes, no, not given. Okay. Here we go. Yes, no, not given. There's a special strategy. I'm going to show you again this strategy. I've showed you this strategy in previous lessons on how this works. So we'll apply it again here. Let me ask for some of you that are watching these lessons regularly what the strategy is. So yes, no, not given. What's the strategy for this kind of question? What should I do? What's my first step? Anybody remember from previous classes what I can do for yes, no, not given or true, false, not given questions? That's right, Yvonne. You got to ask a question. Is it important for the topic? Right? So is it related to the topic of this passage? Is it important? Right? So access, which means too much, okay? Too much sunshine causes rickets. Is it important? Okay, so is it important to know about rickets for this topic? Remember, you're doing this after you read the passage. Yes, it is. Ercon says yes. Okay, so yes, it is important for the passage because we're talking about the importance of red-headedness and the genetics for it, right? So, is it important? Yes, it's important. Okay, so definitely important. Don't jump, guys and girls. A lot of you are giving wrong answers. So is it important for the passage? Yes, it's important for the passage. The next question is it true? Is it true that too much sunshine causes rickets? Why do people have red hair, or where do people have red hair? People have red hair in places where there's not enough sunshine. Why? So that they don't get rickets, right? So too much sunshine does not cause rickets. Too little sunshine or not enough sunshine is what causes rickets, right? So the exact opposite is what causes rickets. So is it true? No. Therefore, the answer is no, okay? Not enough sunshine causes rickets. Not too much sunshine causes rickets, okay? So this is the strategy. Is it important for the passage? Yes, it is. Is it true? No, it's not, all right? If you read this passage, guys and girls, with me, you should have gotten this one correct. This should not be a difficult question, okay? Now, here we go. High amounts of eumelanin is known to help absorb vitamin D. So high amounts of eumelanin is known to help absorb vitamin D. Is it important? So is it important? Yes, it is. Is it true? Is it true that high amounts of eumelanin is known to help absorb vitamin D? Okay, not sure. So you're not sure. Let's go back to the passage. Remember, the question you should ask here is, do redheads have high amounts of eumelanin or do they have low amounts of eumelanin? Okay, do you remember? Anybody remember in the passage? Do redheads have high amounts of eumelanin or low? Let's look back. It's going to be easy to find this because it's in one paragraph. Okay. So on the side effects of the... Here we go. Can everybody see this without me erasing the answers? Let me see if I can put that into position for you. Okay, so one of the side effects of the MC1R gene is that redheads more easily absorb vitamin D due to low amounts of eumelanin in their bodies. Okay, so that's where you can go back and you can search for that. Okay, especially when you have a unique word like eumelanin right there. Okay, so let's go back to the questions and answers. The true, false, not given. And I have to line it up here for you. Okay, so is it true? No. So the answer here is no. So for 1 and for 2, the answer is going to be no. All right, let's jump to number 20. Redheads have difficulty adapting to their environments. Okay. Redheads have difficulty adapting to their environments. Is it important? So is it important to the topic whether or not redheads have difficulty adapting to their environment? Do we talk about this? Is it important to the topic? No, it's not important to the topic. We don't talk about how well redheads in the modern world adapt to their environment. So remember, the word here is have difficulty adapting to their environment. This is present tense, so it means generally these days do redheads have difficulty. No, that's not important. We don't talk about how well redheads today adapt to their environments, so therefore the answer is not given. Okay, that should be quick and easy. All right, redheads are less physically capable than non-redheads. So is this important for the topic? So is it important for the topic? Do we talk about how capable physically redheads are? Yes, it's important because, again, it's an evolutionary question. So yes, is it true? And if you're visualizing what you read, the passage talks a lot about this, so it should be easy. No, it's not true. Okay? So they bruise easier, and that's why we have a misconception that they are less physically capable. But the paragraph clearly says that it's a misconception that they're less physically capable. So the answers are no, no, not given, and no. Okay, those are your answers. All right, any questions about yes, no, not given? Anybody have a question about this? Again, remember, when you join us at aehelp.com, you have all of these exams. You can try them again. You have all the answer keys, and you actually have explanations for the answers. Our exams, we show you where the answers are coming from in the reading passage. Okay, so I can see it's clear for everyone, so we'll go on to the last set of questions, okay? Last set of questions. Here we go. Complete the summary with the letters A to H. So pay attention to this, okay? It says write the correct letter A to H in the boxes in your answer sheet. A very common mistake that a lot of students make is they actually write the word and not the letter. Make sure you write the letter, not the word. If you write the word, you get it wrong, okay? So really important. Okay, write the letter, not the word. Okay, so redhead misconceptions. This is coming from the stereotypes, of course. So redheads have suffered from a number of negative stereotypes throughout their history. Notable in some cultures, they were thought to lack a something. Okay, so for number 22, notable in some cultures, they were thought to lack what? Anybody know what the answer is for 22? This should be simple, guys. These ones you should not be looking at the passage. You should be able to, no, not sunshine, Prosofa. They were lacking what? They can't be lacking sunshine. It doesn't make sense. It's not number, not cleanliness. Yes, Raya, it's a soul. Soul. So F is the correct answer. They were lacking a soul. Lack means they don't have it. Okay? So the correct answer here is soul. All right? Today, conversely, they are thought to be enjoyable and something people. We talked about this because some of you asked about this. So which one's the correct answer? Yes, it is. It's B. So quirky people. Okay, the perception that redheads are dying out is entirely what? Is entirely what? It's going to be false. That's right. And again, you can see the questions in the stream description, guys and girls. So if you're having trouble catching up, look at the stream description there. So it's A, false. Red-headed people are not dying out. Why are they not dying out? This is just my question to you. Why are red-headed people not dying out? If you're doing critical reading, you should have understood this from the passage. Why are red-headed people not dying out? Anybody give me a one-sentence answer? Yeah, exactly, because their genes are still present. They have a recessive gene which can appear generations later, right? So the gene does not really die out, okay? It's a recessive gene. It stays for thousands and thousands of years. All right. Because the MC1R gene is recessive and can miss, what's 25? G, generation. I just said that, yeah. So G, generation. All right. Redheadedness has been around for thousands of years, and though the something of redheadedness in the world may decrease, they are here to stay. So 27 is going to be simple, easy. This should be 26. The number should be 26. What is the answer? It's number. That's right. So, number H. Yeah, so those are your correct answers. Make sure you write the letters. Use big letters. I suggest using capital letters. Don't use a small f or a small b. Okay, use the big uppercase letters. Don't write the words. Okay. All right, so those are the answers. That's what you want to do when you are confronted with this kind of a passage. The materials are coming from aehelp.com, our website, which looks like this. If I go back to the top here, thank you guys and girls for watching this lesson. I will be doing another lesson today. Later on, a different reading. Tomorrow I will be doing speaking for everyone. So if you have an exam tomorrow, I wish you the best of luck. Again, use LIVE20, LIV20 for a 20% discount. Okay, I'll give you a little bit more information here. I'm doing some Skype lessons as well. So if you're interested in Skype lessons, please send me an email to Adrian, ADRIAN, at aehelp.com for practice interviews. Okay, I'll remind people about that tomorrow as well. Again, use coupon code LIV20. aehelp.com is academic IELTS. gieltshelp.com is general IELTS. Good luck to all of you doing your exam today and tomorrow. I wish you the best. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Make sure you stay calm. Make sure you eat well and you drink some water before the exam. You can go to the washroom in some parts of the exam. Just check with the examiner. Again, all the best of luck. Sponsor us through Super Chat. Sponsor us by joining our course, buying our products. The prices are great. It's much cheaper than our competitors, and you get a lot more. Use it on your tablet, on your phone. I will be back to do another lesson today in an hour and 20 minutes. So that'll be 3 p.m. my time, Central Europe. And again, thanks for watching, everyone. It's great to see you. Much love. Bye for now. See you in a little bit. Tomorrow, same time, we'll be speaking lessons. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.